money, greed, prosperity, empowerment, music, all words to describe the Roaring Twenties. The Roaring Twenties brought economic prosperity among the United States. The U.S. economic prosperity was the aftermath of World War I. But first, let's take a moment and visualize. Imagine yourself walking down the busy streets of Chicago and listening to the syncopated sounds of the jazz music. Or walking down the streets of Harlem, and then you lay your eyes on the most beautiful woman, also known as the modern day woman. Not only did the Roaring Twenties bring among happiness and economic prosperity, but it also brought along new technology, such as the Model T and the radio. But while economic prosperity reigned within the United States, scandal was also among. The Teapot Dome was a bribery that took place in the United States from 1920 to 1923. A man named Albert Fall was charged of releasing Navy petroleum reserves at Teapot Dome in Wyoming and in California. This deprived the public reputation of the Harding administration. Apparently, the money that was given to Fall through the bribery was used towards his cattle ranch and his other personal businesses. Not only was the government beginning to grow more corrupt, but society took a downfall as well. Organized crime began to rise in the Midwest. Due to the Anti-Saloon League, the Prohibition movement grew. The 18th Amendment was put into place to ban all alcohol in order to reduce intoxication rates. However, this only caused the forbidden fruit chain reaction. Since alcohol was banned, the demand for it increased. Therefore, criminal organizations formed. The most popular criminal organization was known as the American Mafia, or the Italian Mob. The most notorious of them all was Al Capone. Al Capone's violent rise to power left him the lasting figure in the Prohibition era and in organized crime. The American Mafia began to sell illegal alcohol in little places called speakeasies. Italian families began waging wars for total control of illegal transactions. While illegal transactions and crime erupted in the Midwest, the art of literature flourished in the United States. Great authors like Sinclair Lewis and F. Scott Fitzgerald brought great novels, one of which my favorite, The Great Gatsby. Not only did wonderful literature flourish, but an uproar, a celebration of the Negro movement took place in Harlem. The Harlem Renaissance was a cultural movement that uplifted blacks through literature, art, and music. It was also a way for blacks to have racial pride and intellect through literature, art, and music. It also challenged stereotypes and racism against African Americans. The Harlem Renaissance led blacks to opportunities to be published on mainstream houses. Great authors like Zora Neale Hurston with Their Eyes Are Watching God and Langston Hughes' Life is Fine. Their work still remains popular today. African American musicians also played a big role in the New Negro movement. In the famous Cotton Club, black entertainment was exclusively provided to white audiences. In the Cotton Club, it provided people with the best entertainers and musicians in the golden era. It provided artists like Lena Horne, Billie Holiday, Duke Ellington, and Louis Armstrong. Because the Cotton Club was a white establishment, it depicted African Americans in a negative manner. Although it depicted African Americans in a negative light, many artists and intellectuals of the Harlem Renaissance strived for hope, change, and democratic reform. Now fast forwarding today, in 2014, the 1920s truly was a stepping stone for technology, fashion, and equality.
Reciting Life is Fine by Langston Hughes. I went down to the river. I sat down on the bank. I tried to think but couldn't, so I jumped in and sank. I came up once and hollered. I came up twice and cried. If I hadn't been so cold, I might have sunk and died. But it was cold, cold in the water. It was cold. I took the elevator, 16 floors above the ground. I thought about my baby and thought I would jump down. I stood there and I hollered. I stood there and I cried.